Welcome to Shooting the Ish. Hello.
Well, hello. Hello.
Welcome to Shooting the Ish. The Ish.
Shooting that ish.
Do you think that's way too much of a call for Shooting the Ish?
It could have been a little bit shorter. So right when you finish saying ish and then goes boom, the beat hits.
But is it too loud to go shooting? It should just be like, welcome to Shooting the Ish.
It's not too loud.
This is NPR. Welcome.
It wasn't too loud. It was just too loud.
It wasn't blaring. That's for damn sure.
Well, what's going on? Hey, Brian, what happened? You were at Electric Zoo, huh?
Yeah, I was working the Electric Zoo at the VIP section.
So let's
were the animals okay?
Define animals. You're talking about human beings. I mean, a couple of them like popped too many mollies or some synthetic fake versions that were passed off as mollies.
Is it true that you were the only thing that upset you was that you wouldn't get to work with all the hot girls the next day when they canceled the show?
Initially, but I mean that passed over me like in 5 seconds. It was it was basically another $300 that went down the drain because of the unfortunate incident that happened.
Do you mourn? I have never heard of you mourning anything.
Well, if you're talking about in the conventional sense or doing it in the conventional way, then no. But I did think about it in terms of one of the kids was, one was 20 years old and the other was 23, and they're basically from rural areas. I think one was from Maine and the other was from Rhode Island. And these kids are just trying to have a good time, and I guess they party a little too hard,
Yeah.
And the thing is that, what happened was that there was a guy that got on the stage, was working with the police department and the medics, saying, listen, you guys have to hydrate, and you guys got to watch out for each other, and, take care of each other, or else we're not going to do this again. And he did that 3 times. Because apparently the first death happened, I want to say, on Saturday morning. The first death occurred, and it was at a hospital. And then Sunday morning was when the second death occurred, and there was a slew of people who were in the ICU afterwards.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well,
it was crazy.
Yeah, I guess.
Now, what exactly were you doing there, Brian? Were you selling the drug paraphernalia?
No. You would think, but I was actually.
He was standing there waiting for the mollies to kick in.
Yeah, right. No, I was working the VIP section, serving bottles.
Big time.
I won't call myself a big timer, but I was just serving the bottles to the guests in the VIP section.
Nice. Were you wearing a mini skirt and stuff?
No, the girls were wearing the mini skirts.
You were like that movie, The Butler.
Yeah, apparently I was really popular. Yeah.
Yeah, this whole overdose stuff. I mean, that comes from a cocktail of several things. You're not going to just drop dead from taking MDMA. It just doesn't. It's not that kind of a drug. But when you mix ketamine and you mix cocaine and you mix whatever other drug, it could be shrooms a lot of the times, even though that's natural, acid and whatever. But pure MDMA won't kill you. It will dehydrate you and empty your serotonin, and you will be depressed, but it won't kill you.
We were talking about this last week, that those girls are way too skinny to be taking that hard of a drug. There should be a rule, only big chicks get to take those things.
Well, it also depends on the amount that you take.
The skinny girls, their drug dealers should give them Fruit Loops and Cheerios and hamburgers.
They should have the diet version.
Diet MDMA.
Diet Molly.
Hey, maybe was anyone there high on chicken nuggets, Brian?
No, but in terms of like the things that I saw the guests eating was mainly pizza, surprisingly.
I'll tell you what. This person was definitely not on MDMA.
How come Electric Zoo sounds like Chuck E. Cheese for
Yeah, I know, for douchebags. No, I'm kidding. I
Chuck
mean
E.
for
Cheese for douchebags is too.
I mean, it is mostly crap mainstream
techno, electric music.
electronic dance music, as it's been dubbed the last few years, and it's just so bad. Most of it is so bad. There's a handful of DJs that perform at these things that are good, that actually make music, instead of pulling up Ableton or whatever crap program.
Well, yeah, and to strengthen your argument, it was just basically them playing the same thing over and over again. It's just like you're just different artists that was playing the same thing over and over again for the most part.
Were they doing this one? I got that summertime sadness.
Few and far between, surprisingly.
Oh, that's good. I like that one.
Yeah. Well, from Lana Del Rey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a good one, because it's a nice one. I usually get sad in the summer. I don't necessarily.
What a shock.
Oh, stop.
Hey, well, you moved to LA. It's summer all year long. You're in trouble.
I know. Well, sometimes the summertime is a little bit less sad than other times, but it's usually for a specific reason. It has to do with the opposite sex. I'm usually sad in the summer. I guess it goes back to like summertime, like summer camp stories. You know, you gotta leave your girlfriend to go to summer camp.
Oh, sorry, man.
I never went to summer camp, but
you're not missing much.
You went to summer camp, Brian?
Football camp, if that means.
I went to a summer camp, but it wasn't like it was in the city, so it didn't feel like.
Yeah, that don't count.
Yeah.
A real camp is like when you're away from civilization for the most part.
Right. Yeah.
Serious?
Hey, Brian, I got that new Molly. You want some?
Is it laced with Epsom salt?
I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm just here to have a really good time.
Okay.
Oh, this is my song, girl.
And this definitely makes you want to pop a Molly.
Oh, girl, this is my song. Get out the way.
If my bra wasn't padded right now, I'd whip these things out.
Lana Del Rey is hot.
She's really talented too. Me and Brian were talking about this. There's a lot of people who we're so conditioned as a society to think that every famous female star is hot, that when someone comes around that's talented or just cool, everyone associates them as hot. Now she is. I agree with you. She is attractive as well.
Genuinely attractive. Yeah.
We were talking about how everyone considers Jennifer Lawrence hot because she's cool.
But she is. I think I could solve Lana Del Rey's Summertime Sadness.
Is that the original?
Yeah, this is the original. There's a lot of crap remixes, but this is the original. I think there's a little bit of a techno thing going on.
We should remix Summertime Sadness with that chicken nugget video.
I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Well, okay, so a couple things are going on in the news this week with chicken nuggets. First,
this lady was not on Molly, and she was definitely enduring some summertime sadness.
I didn't hear about this, but I'm curious as to
check it out.
Holy shit! There's just bacon McNuggets in my hand. I don't want to hear it.
It's 10:30 a.m. We don't serve chicken McNuggets at this time.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Why not?
Because we do.
You know what? Oh, the morning just fucking hit you. Just give me that over the top.
What's going on over there?
Don't you fucking run away from me, you family.
Oh, shit.
Don't make me assume my ultimate form. I will fuck you up. Wait, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna wreck you. Get the fuck out of here. What? I'm gonna try to show you. Look at the minutes.
Ma'am. Whoa. Stop, ma'am.
What?
Close that shit.
Time out, George, time out.
This lady.
Okay, let me explain to Brian what's happening.
Yeah.
The woman drives up to the drive-thru at 10:30 in the morning, and she looks like She's from the part of the country where methamphetamines are
the norm.
rampant. Yeah. So she pulls up to the window and she's demanding chicken nuggets. And when they don't give it to her, she gets out of the car and she starts hissing. And she starts trying to pry the window open with her fingers, and she starts throwing punches at the people inside.
Oh, okay.
And she's threatening to turn into her ultimate form.
Which is what?
I'm guessing she's a Dragon Ball Z fan because at some point she says, "I will go Super Saiyan on your ass."
Yeah, keep it going. Keep the rest going. That's funny.
Oh my god! What the fuck is this bitch on? Holy shit!
What's going on? Is she like getting burned by her apple pie or something?
Time out.
Mm-hmm.
What the guy in the background just said walking by was, "What's the matter? Did she get burned by her apple pie?"
That's terrible, man.
That guy's not a winner of the day.
Now, while this is happening, she's pulling the window open, throwing punches. They're slamming the window on her fingers. And she's trying to climb up, but then realizing she can't. So she's like kicking her leg up to the window, but she doesn't have the mobility to swing it over.
Oh, wow.
So, but she's definitely getting more and more hyped up. What drug would you say she's on?
Definitely, meth has a lot to do with it. It's very popular and it's easily attainable. But I mean, are you hungry when you're on meth? I personally have never tried meth, so I don't know. Is it chicken nugget that important to you when you're high on meth? I don't know.
This is one of those few times where I wish we could get a caller who can actually explain this to us.
It's hard to get a meth person on the phone, though.
I'm sure Chris and I can walk out the door and walk a block and find someone that's currently on methamphetamines.
Yeah, excuse me, bum outside the window. What's meth like?
Yeah, but I do. Oh, check this out. I do have a.
Wait, is that clip over? Is there more to that?
There's a tiny bit more. But oh yeah, she does something special before she leaves.
No idea. We need to call the police. This is out of control. Holy shit!
Okay.
She got out of her car and broke the drive-through window with a weapon.
My kind of woman.
She threw a bottle through the drive-through window. She speeds off. I guess she realized now that she crossed the line finally.
Right.
And she speeds off, and the next person that was in line just casually rolls up to get their order.
Yeah, he pulled up kind of shocked.
Well, I mean, I would if I experienced something of that magnitude. Yeah, I'd pull up slowly. You know, please, I'm one of the good ones. Do not be harmed or frightened.
I like how in the beginning that one guy that worker is very squeaky, like, "Did you just hit me?"
That was a woman.
Was a woman.
And the lady in the car called her a fat meat bag. But just in studio here, a remix has come up of "Summertime Sadness" and the Chicken Nugget Lady.
Gotta be shitting.
Holy shit! Let's just make a McNuggets in my head.
It's 10:30 a.m. We don't serve chicken McNuggets at this time.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Why not? Because we do. You
Oh, no.
fucking hit you. Just come here and throw the cops.
What's going on over there?
Don't you fucking run away from me, you family. Shut up. Don't make me into my ultimate form. I will fuck you up. Wait, I'm gonna go in and I will wreck you. I'm gonna get a boy. I'm gonna destroy you. Oh my God.
Don't know about you, George, but that's an epic win to me.
That's a return of DJ Burna, FYI.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was you, George. Did you just make that?
I just did that.
Wow, that was great.
That actually did work.
Good job.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I have good ears. Nothing else. Any other part of my body is terrible, but my ears are good.
That sound, the sound
awesome.
of that mashed together, is that what goes on in your soul when you're having all these fights with these girls?
It's
he finally found a kindred spirit in that song. You know,
anger and sadness, the two emotions.
Yeah, it's like finally he found a song that actually genuinely speaks to him. So
It does. I'm angry when I don't get my nuggets.
Yeah, and then some.
And then I'm sad in the summer.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm an optimist. Even if that happened to my nuggets, I would be like, oh, well, I shouldn't be eating nuggets.
Unless it's like 30 degrees or less,
Oh,
you know.
check this out. A couple things are going on with McNuggets. Well, first of all, that woman was arrested. That video was from 2010, but it got re-released and somehow blew up, like 10 million views in a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
It might have just been released with the best audio for the first time or something like that. But
Right.
that's in Ohio, and that is the only McDonald's now in the country that sells McNuggets all day long.
Oh, nice.
So she made us
because of that lady.
Yeah, that's the only McDonald's in the country that serve nuggets all day long.
Man, that's the thing. That's the thing that gets me. People that always want to start trouble cause change. I never want to start trouble. Trouble comes to me, and then I have to change. That's bullshit. I'm putting my foot down. Let's go on to the next.
Play that song. Go back to your soundboard.
Are you serious?
Get your shine box. I mean soundboard.
Get your fucking soundboard. Get your fucking soundboard. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, you should teach us some fucking manners.
Oh, man.
Hey, you kind of insulted him a little bit. Nah, I didn't insult nobody. Okay.
To go a little bit off topic, a prediction that I made last week came true. If you recall, I said CBS and Time Warner would come to a deal this week.
Yeah.
And
sure
the next day, they came to terms on a deal. So I'm the Svengali of television and cable providers. I can tell you what's going to happen when. All you have to do is ask. Send all your emails to shootingtheish@gmail.com.
Right.
And I will answer them.
Wow. You're on fire, George.
Which reminds me, in order for you, you have to wear a new getup, right?
No,
you have to, George, you'd have to wear a cape with a turban and a little emerald, right above your forehead,
I'm 2 steps ahead of you. I have the emerald and the cape. I'm just looking for the turban.
Oh, okay, good enough. Well, at least you're in the step in the right direction. That's good.
We've got to put George in a bikini and get some viewers to this show.
Yikes.
Okay, yeah, he'll be big, sexy man with a thong on and a cape.
Speaking of, remember from Superbad? Ooh, big sexy with glasses.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Me and George went to the Greek festival in L.A.
Okay.
And after we got out of the Greek festival, we went to the liquor store to get some drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And this Jamaican woman who had Jamaican earrings in.
What kind
big,
of Jamaican earring?
Big Jamaican colored hoop earrings.
Big, obnoxious, yeah.
She was like, "Ooh, are you two Greek?" And I said, and I quickly pushed it off on George, saying, "I'm not Greek, he is though." So she's like, "Ooh," and what did she say to you?
We walk into a convenience store that was easily 25 degrees hotter than it was outdoors. So we have to go through the maze in order to get to the fridge. So I grab a bottle of water, and Chris is looking for whatever juice lights up his eye that day. And he found the Jarritos, but he was looking for, what flavor were you looking for, Chris?
I was looking for a tamarindo. I had to settle for a fruit punch.
Yeah, the tamarindo wasn't there, only a big bottle. I told him get the big bottle. He refused. He settled for the fruit punch. I saw he was a little disappointed, but it's cool. I was sitting there drinking my water. All of a sudden, the Jamaican lady that we saw bent over leaning into a car outside.
With stretch marks coming out of the pants, by the way.
Dressed in full Jamaican color garb with Jamaican earrings hanging off her
You
head.
mean green, yellow, and black?
Well, the Jamaican earring flag, it was an actual Jamaican earring flag hanging off her ear. So she comes up to the fridge next to her. She's like, "Oh, you boys Greek?" And I'm just not saying a word. And Chris, of course, says that I'm Greek. And she's like, oh, okay, Greeker. You's a sexy Greek. And I was put my head
tell
down.
Did you tell her that you eat the Caesar salad and that your Greek yogurt all day? That's why you're able to maintain your Greekness.
Caesar salad ain't Greek, you schmuck.
Who gives a rat's ass? Who's that?
A Greek salad is Greek, you dummy.
And she's like, ooh, does it offend you that I called you Greeker? And he's like, no, and she's like, yeah.
You's a cute little Greek.
Yeah,
I just put my head down.
She was certainly ready to climb up Mount Olympus for your mother.
No. I put my head down, thanked her, and walked away. I don't want to start any trouble.
Thank you. Thank you. But really quick, to finish up that chicken nuggets, another video was released about a week or two ago. You could see it on YouTube. It's scientist took a microscope and microscopic images to a chicken nugget, and the results are startling. Which is it looks like compressed Jello with random. It doesn't look really like chicken at all. And there was like bits of pepper and bits of pubic hair that they found in the frickin' chicken nugget.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, don't they use that pink stuff as a substitute?
Oh, right. They came out with those pictures a couple of months ago showing the paste, right?
Yeah, it's very pasty pink stuff, that they substitute for chicken McNuggets. And I don't even think we're going to be able to track them now, in terms of like where the chicken McNuggets is coming from.
Yeah, like what weird place on earth does the chicken McNugget ingredients come from?
China. Okay.
Nowhere good. Nowhere good.
Chicken McNuggets are causing global warming.
Yeah.
I mean, chicken McNuggets definitely causing some summertime sadness.
Oh my God. George, serenade a lover while this song plays in the background.
I can't. I have no emotion toward that.
I really have all these feelings.
In the words of Jay-Z, he can't see it coming down his eyes. You gotta let the song.
I let the song explain things for me, and I just press play. Play.
Yeah, all right. Now, George.
Yes.
Now, if you're listening to this song before the show and after the show, could you stop playing it during the show?
Fine. I just wanted to get a little... Jeez, I can't win.
In 1 hour, you could go back in 1 hour's time and listen to that song.
Dude, you'll have plenty of time. 24 hours in a day. You'll find time.
I've actually never played this song like this before. I was inspired. All right, I'm retiring you, Lana. We'll talk later.
We'll play the techno version. No, all right.
Another.
I'll have my own mix by next week.
Sorry.
Okay, let's get into real quick. Brian, you saw Argo. I want to get your opinion on what's his name playing Batman.
Yeah, what's his name playing Batman? I'm just mystified. This guy, he played a Hispanic dude who basically rescued a bunch of white people from Iran. Whatever.
Well, it was a good movie. It was well done.
It was a good film, but it was like, really, you guys, what the hell were you doing there in the first place? I kept on asking while the film was going. It was a good film, but I just kept asking myself, what the hell are you guys doing there? You have no business being there.
Money.
Exactly. But, so Ben Affleck, as you guys already know, this is old news, that he's going to be playing Batman in the sequel to Man of Steel, which to me, I feel like is a cop-out, on DC Time Warner's part, because it just goes to show you that they have zero confidence in another Superman film. I just feel like they could have just used someone within his rogues gallery, aside from Lex Luthor in part 2, to.
Well, hold on now. Is there going to be a part 2 with Lex Luthor, or is this Lex Luthor? Luthor. Or is this gonna specifically be the part 2? Is this gonna be the part 2, or is this gonna come after the part 2?
At this point, it sounds like this is the that's what they're saying right now.
Man, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, Lex Luthor is not going to be the career criminal that he was in the Christopher Reeve version. played by Gene Hackman, he's gonna be a crooked, corrupt industrialist who basically is gonna like be sort of like xenophobic and try to like come out against Superman's presence on this planet. And
yeah, that's good. Make it more logical. That's fine.
Yeah. I actually spoke to Ben Affleck, and I asked him about what he thinks about all the comments and whatnot of the negativity of him towards being Batman, and this is what he said.
Get the fuck out of here.
I thought he was gonna have summertime sadness.
Chris, I am a professional. I am a professional, okay? So next time you have an issue with something like that, I'm just gonna tell you to,
Well, George, I honestly believe that if you actually ran into him in person and actually asked him that question, he probably would genuinely answer you the same way, to be honest with you.
Well, here's the thing. After he was, credit to how well this guy's sticking around Hollywood, but it took him so long to dig himself out of that whole Daredevil, that whole phase he was in.
No, it was the Geely phase.
Right. Yeah. And it took him so long. So why would you do why would you do something where if someone says, why would you do something to make people look back on that? And why would DC look, and why would Warner Bros. want everyone to be reminded? It screams like George Clooney, right?
Right, and it's so funny because he actually did work with Clooney on Argo. They were both executive producers.
Wow.
On that film, and they won Best Picture last.
Also, if someone says to Ben Affleck, "Oh, wow, you got a superhero movie. Have you ever done a superhero movie?" He'd be like, "Yeah, I was Daredevil." Wow, right, you were. That was
right.
bad.
Right. I could see some neophyte reporter who's like wet behind the ears would probably ask him that question.
Have you ever thought about doing a superhero movie before? Actually. No, actually, I've never been in another one. This is my first time.
Right.
That's not all he said, actually.
What else did he say?
Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Just pick your ass up out of that Italian leather chair and get the fuck out of this room.
So I didn't know what to say. I just left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could go either way in the sense that, I don't know, it could be really bad or it could be really good. But I'm just trying to figure out how the hell are they going to even it out for the Batman character. Because, I mean, Superman was all over the damn place in the previous film. He was fighting Zod up in space and, going all over the damn place. So I'm just curious, are they going to finally introduce, like, Kryptonite? Or,
yeah.
Because
I don't know.
There was no Kryptonite introduced in the first film, which is actually good. So.
Well, maybe that'll work if you have the criminal element in Lex Luthor, and then Batman has to save Superman or something like that. Plus, I think the reason they went like this is because they wanted an older actor to play Batman this time around.
Yeah, and also the fact that we're gonna move away from Christian Bale's rendition, which was fine for its time. He's going to be a little bit more somber, a little bit more. I wouldn't say laid back, but more brooding than angry.
Well, they offered Christian Bale a boatload of money, from what I heard. He said no.
Well, yeah, he was done with it. They offered him like $50 million, something like that.
Yeah, I don't even think he wanted. I don't even know how enthused he was about Dark Knight Rises.
Well, right, exactly. Who knows? But, I mean, to me, I always felt like, in terms of, like, the Superman franchise, I thought they would, like, go with a villain like, say, Brainiac.
You're just too much of a comic book fan. No one knows what that is.
Well,
and no one knows what a rogue gallery is, by the way. Can you explain what a rogue gallery is?
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're like the second person. Well, actually, I think you're the only person to ask me that. It's basically, a gallery of villains within a superheroes franchise or within a franchise. Like Batman has Joker, Penguin, Two-Face, etc. Superman has his own rogue gallery in the form of, obviously, Lex Luthor, General Zod, Brainiac, Bizarro, Toyman, who we couldn't really take seriously. But I always felt like the next one they should go a more Kryptonian route and in a form of like Brainiac, who's like a supercomputer who has ties to Krypton and
Aw, that's mean, George. You're being mean with that soundboard.
What? Oh.
Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
I would appreciate if you play Lana Del Rey.
What is it,
soon as
Toy?
I-
Hey, come on. What happened to Toy Man?
I'm just saying that he's part of Superman's rogue gallery, but he wouldn't be taken seriously in a cinematic piece.
Well, do you think that this was this new movie's way of saying this movie's going to make so much money it doesn't matter who we get to play Batman?
Well,
they needed.
you know what? He might do a great job. We don't know.
They needed a big name. I have faith in him, and fuck that. I got my own rogue gallery. It's lined up with all my ex-girlfriends.
Right, but I mean, in terms of Ben Affleck, I mean, I'm sure he's learned a lot and learned enough, like what not to do. And we all know that he could pretty much play a badass if you did not see The Town, like a genuine badass.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And you know what? To his, he was, I guess, to his credit, he's such a good Hollywood player that he worked himself into roles where he wasn't ready to play.
Right. But I mean, I'm sure he's learned from the mistakes that is Daredevil. So I'm sure he's not going to make the same mistake twice. Yeah. And also, you have to understand that DC is still in competition with Marvel. Now, Marvel, their bread and butter was the Avengers.
Right.
So it was like DC had to step up, and what better way or bigger way for them to step up? It's like, what was the next step for Marvel? That basically the Avengers was as good as it gets or as big as it got.
Right.
Next step would be Batman and Superman, two of the most iconic characters of that universe in one film, and make no mistake of it, regardless of whether it's good or bad, it's going to be huge. Make no mistake of it.
Right.
A film like that would be critic proof. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about how much money it's going to make. So I just want to know. I'm just worried about how good or bad it's going to be. So.
Hey, I did see You're Next.
I beg your pardon?
I saw You're Next, the horror movie You're Next.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Bill Goldberg.
No. Can you play that Bill Goldberg music? Yeah. So I saw You're Next, and I'm Brian. I'm really surprised you didn't see this because I thought you were like a horror man, but I guess you're a toy man, Superman fan.
Yeah, that makes me kind of a dork.
I always thought you were a horror guy because even when I saw you made an indie movie, then it was a slasher movie.
I did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm listening to this song.
All right.
Every time Chris wakes up, this music plays.
The movie You're Next. All right, here's my review. This was, thanks for that.
Yeah, keep
going. We're listening. We're listening to your review.
Yeah, that's fine. Keep it going.
Keep going as he talks about You're Next. Yeah.
Okay. So it was basically a smart slasher movie, as weird as that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like, you remember how Conjuring a couple months ago was like a smart horror movie, like a ghost horror movie?
Yeah.
This was a smart slasher movie, where the direction kept you on edge. You always felt like there was a voyeuristic point of view. You didn't know like if the killer was right where the camera was or not. So you didn't know if you were being thrown off or led in the right direction, and that constantly kept you tense as the viewer. They started right off the bat with the nudity and the film grain and stuff like that, so you felt like you were watching a shitty slasher movie. But that was only at first. The movie was shot well. It's just that they used a lot of natural lighting, so at points, instead of lighting for night, they just shot it at night and upped the grain and upped the gain. So, and then the nudity disappeared after the first scene.
So was it like gory, like really, really gory, or what?
Yeah, it wasn't gory for the sake of being gory, but the stuff that was happening, like from point A to point B to point C, like disgusting things were happening to the characters.
Oh, that's nice.
It was basically okay. So here's what it is. It was a family reunion. Now this family had a little bit of money, so you know how these things go. Like people don't get along in these families. But you're still playing that, huh? But so yeah, it's a mother, father, and then they had 4 they had like 4 kids, 3 brothers and a sister. But all those people show up with their spouses. So in all, there's 10 people at a family reunion.
Right.
And these people have made their bones off of like overseas contracting of weapons, and basically they made their money off wars in foreign countries. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, all of a sudden, some killers start attacking them with like arrows through the windows, and it turns in quickly to who's going to last and who's going to survive. And it was basically like an R-rated Home Alone, because there came a point where the main character, who's the girlfriend of one of the brothers, she starts setting like booby traps, it was like a gory version of Home Alone. Like she was setting nails on the floor, she was setting axes. Terrible. Yeah, like when someone twists the door handle, there's a rope that's attached to an axe and stuff like that.
So, I mean, it wasn't like a horror flick. Would you consider it a horror flick?
Yeah, it was like a slasher. Well, like it's slashers at their worst, which is what we're used to seeing, are like porn, and that's what everyone's used to. But a smart slasher movie at its best is about, being a victim and then becoming empowered over that and fighting back, sort of thing.
Right.
So what's it?
Or how you basically go about, right, exactly, in terms of combating your tormentor or killer/killer.
Yeah, because in ghost horror, like, your soul's in danger, but in slasher horror, your life
is in danger.
Yeah, your life's in... It dealt with home invasion, but it was such a fantastical situation that it was not disturbing like Funny Games. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Funny Games.
Yeah, that was good. I never saw the original, but I saw the remake.
It wasn't about humiliation. There was no weird sex shit. It was strictly killing, like throat slashing, killing, and stuff like that. It was almost like Panic Room in a lot of ways. It felt like I was watching Panic Room. But yeah, it was cool. It was like a survival movie. It turned into, where now at the end the people who were hunting them become the hunted, and basically almost everyone gets offed one by one. I don't want to go too far into it, but there was a very funny brother character who was like the asshole older brother that always had a comment about how everyone's life was running. But in the very beginning of the movie, he gets shot almost immediately with an arrow in the back, but somehow lives and goes through the movie with the arrow in his back, and still pesters the other people in the family while they're all in threat of being murdered. That was really cool.
My kind of guy.
Yeah, the pacing was good. It was. I was also I was playing that new Tomb Raider. I don't know if Brian, have you heard of that?
Yeah, it's very cinematic.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was again survival stuff, and then the environment's blowing up around you. So, I guess those things are just connect as a story. It's so easy, like your life is on the line, go sort of thing,
Yeah. Now let me ask you: were the tricks and whatnot that the people were pulling, was it as good as Home Alone? Would you think? Do you think that someone like the Wet Bandits possibly had like a leg up on them?
You did it again, didn't you?
What?
You left the water running, didn't you? What's wrong with you? Why do you do that? I told you not to do it.
Harry, it's our calling card. All the great ones leave their mark.
Yeah.
Bandits. You know that? Really sucks.
There was actually, it's funny that you're, using that clip, but that's what it was like. There came a certain point where you got to know who the killers were, and it took a little bit of the fear and mystique away, but they were still actively pursuing to kill the main character and others. But yeah, you started getting into their personalities, and they started fighting amongst themselves. It wasn't as goofy as Home Alone, obviously, but was it better? I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not as classic, but then again, we were kids when that came out, so who knows?
What's goofy about the Wet Bandits?
I don't know. know.
Well, isn't it obvious that they got basically schooled by a little kid?
Yeah.
And they had to become the Sticky Bandits, right?
Yeah, they had to become the Sticky Bandits, exactly.
What did they do to, what was it that made them sticky? What was their...
I think he had, some sticky glove, when he was in the city, and he was, taking whatever was within his range, it would just stick to him. So, I think that's how they ran with that nickname.
Yeah, but because I think they were in New York, so they had to become a little more legitimate,
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but sure.
You know, when you're in New York, you're in a big city. You can't be like the wet bandit. You got to be, you know, like sticky. You got to be a sticky bandit.
Right. I guess they want to be Mexicans. So whatever.
Okay, that's enough. Enough. Please, enough. Okay, moving on.
Yeah,
Tomb Raider was quite good. It was probably one of the best, I would say top 10 games I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
For me
Bold
personally.
statement.
It was completely cinematic, good pacing, good storytelling, which now this current games are not very challenging anymore. They don't want you to keep playing the same thing over and over. They want it to progress. So every time you're playing a game these days, it's kind of like you are progressing in some way. But with that, the environments are just meant to be visually stunning and then gone. And in this game, a lot of the environments were falling apart as you were walking through them. But it was really good. The lighting effects were completely dramatic. It was really, really good. Brian, you saw the videos of it?
I saw clips, TV spots in the trailer.
Yeah, apparently it sold it had a huge release. They sold like millions of copies within the first 2 days. Right. And they didn't make it because remember the old one? She had those pointy polygon boobs. They didn't make it like she was a sex symbol. They made it just that it was like a revamp or a prequel. Like Lara Croft was a research student who had to kill to survive. She had to kill animals to eat. She had to kill people because they were trying to kill her. So it was really about survival, not necessarily about like Tomb Raider.
Treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Speaking of games, I haven't played that one. I know you like that a lot, and I've heard several of my friends that are avid gamers like it a lot. But I saw the official, like the legitimate official trailer for Grand Theft Auto 5. And since I've come out to California, I haven't had any game systems. Just when I stayed with Chris, he had the Xbox and I would play games with him, but I haven't had one. This game is making me consider to save up and actually buy a system for this game.
Yeah, that game looks ridiculous. Oh, remember, Grand Theft Auto 4 was a realistic interpretation of New York City, so this is the exact thing for LA, but with more game modes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it really looks good, and hopefully they'll bundle it somehow when it comes out in the next few months. And
well, I guess I'm the major dork out of the three because I almost started contemplating like buying a console after I saw the trailer for Arkham City, to be honest with you.
Arkham City or Arkham Origin?
I said Arkham City.
All right.
Almost.
Jesus, relax yourself.
Arkham City was okay. The gameplay was very good. The Arkham Asylum had the better story, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Well, it was more of a tight... When you get that sandbox stuff, it's kind of hard to have a tight story. But anyway, the Grand Theft Auto series have always had a way of, like, whenever they start off, they're in New York, and then whenever they have subsequent games, they go to different location, and then they add, like, modes like gang war and territories and stuff like that. But then when they go to the new system, they wipe everything and just do a basic New York game again, like Grand Theft Auto 3 for PS2. That was a basic game again, and then Vice City added motorcycles, and San Andreas was ridiculous with story and crazy missions. And I guess this is the same thing now. Grand Theft Auto 4 was in New York and was basic, and this one is in LA again and completely grandeur. So I guess it's just the way it goes. So at this point, we're getting a game with good graphics that takes place in a region that everyone knows, LA, and it has a million crazy story elements going on.
Right.
George, you there?
I'm here. So,
yeah, I guess that's it. Are you going to get it?
I'm thinking about it. Obviously, it's tough to justify at this point in my quote-unquote adult life to buy a video game console for several $100s. But I don't know, man. Depends how well I'm doing financially.
All right.
If I can splurge on that instead of maybe fixing my car.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that's a very mature decision you've got there.
Yeah, that's one of few.
That's a very adult thing I've heard you say.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Hey, Brian, has anything happened to you this week or two besides Electric Zoo? Do you have anything interesting going on?
Well, you wanted to bring up the fact that I shot a ghost story, which I don't know how true that is. Like you said, you were talking about my trailer or something
Right.
like that?
I haven't. Oh, what? What?
All right, let me say this so you can understand. We were talking about like horror films, and you accused me of like saying how I liked horror films, but since I like shot one recently, or something like that.
Okay.
Just say it, man. Just say it.
Yeah, but Brian, you're like
Jesus
promoting
Christ.
yourself. I'm not gonna give you. What are you saying?
All right, so I shot a horror film. It was in the vein of a ghost story, like a paranormal activity.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, I guess.
But you remove all the congratulations when you have to when we have to drag it out of you like pulling teeth. So
Brian,
fuck you.
Can I take over, Brian?
Yeah, sure.
Brian shot.
I wanted you to take over.
I didn't know what you were saying. you did multiple things with ghost stories. I don't know. Brian is in an indie film called Paranormal Gentrification about a black family that's haunted by a white ghost.
Aren't all ghosts white?
And this ghost specifically is wearing dick glasses and an indie band label T-shirt.
Ooh. Oh man, hopefully it makes it to cons, but I think it's just gonna make it to the can at the end of the driveway.
Yeah. Oh,
no, it looks funny. The Brian has a clip in it that's very funny because he has that deep voice, and then they're all sitting around in the living room, and Brian goes like this: "You're telling me there's a white ghost in this house?"
Dun dun dun.
Hey, I sold that line.
Hey, keep us up to date. Let us know when that comes out. Paranormal
gentrification. You got it.
Gentrification.
I'm looking very forward to that.
Hey, let's get into sports because I know you guys could go on that for a while. And
well, it was a big day for Peyton Manning. That's for damn sure.
Thursday night, rather.
Yeah, Thursday night, right?
He threw for 7 touchdowns. It ties the NFL record for most touchdowns thrown in a single game by Y.A. Tittle in like 1950.
What?
Yeah, I know. You're talking about like 60 years ago.
Wait a second. What about Al Bundy's record? Did he break Al Bundy?
I mean, Bundy's was a bit more dramatic, so I think Bundy has him there.
Yeah.
Okay. So wow, that's crazy. 7 touchdowns in a game.
I know.
Yeah, it was very good. I do fantasy football, and whoever I don't have Peyton Manning on my team, but if I did, I'd be very happy because he put up a lot of points. So whoever has him is lucky, at least for that game, I'd say.
Right. Yeah. What else is going? Because so NFL started, the season started, right?
Mm-hmm.
And anything else big going on with sports? Has all that A-Rod stuff died down?
Yeah.
It's starting. Yeah, it's dying down. I mean, since they went into the series against Boston's basically had their number. And I mean, they've been close games, but Boston just found a way to shut them up quickly. So.
Yeah, I actually have audio of the best athlete in the history of football right here.
I served my country. I played high school football. 4 touchdowns in one game.
You see, 4 touchdowns in a single game, only by Al Bundy.
Al Bundy was a running back, but he always did the quarterback pose when he was recalling his football days.
Winning is winning, I guess,
Yeah. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, football's on. That's very exciting. I mean, baseball is sort of culminating to the playoffs at this point. So that's a good thing. The Yankees are 2 games back from the wild card. Boston kind of beat them up a little bit this past weekend. Now they have a series with Baltimore, which is very, very important because Baltimore and the Yankees are like 2 games back from the second wild card spot, so they have to do the best they can to get there, or the Yankee fans are going to be just continually bragging about how many rings they have instead of what they're doing now.
Exactly.
Well, then again, I'm a Met fan, so I can't really say a goddamn thing.
Hey, speaking of when we were talking about Batman, there was a guy in UK that dressed up as Batman and brought wanted criminals to the police station.
Jesus.
He doesn't look like he's in shape at all. He's wearing an old Batman outfit from like the '60s show.
Oh, Adam West, great.
And he basically just goes to the police station and he says, "I've got this one for you." And the policemen were stunned.
Wow.
And the guy just walked into the night and like disappeared.
Speaking of which, it's funny you should mention that. Has anyone seen that new trailer to the revamped version of RoboCop?
Yeah, I saw that.
It kind of bothers. I don't know if I could get into that.
Like, I don't know. I'm getting a Total Recall vibe from it. I don't know why.
Hopefully, I mean, it's not going to try hard. It doesn't have to try hard to be better than the Total Recall remake. It really has to try to go out of its way to be worse than the Total Recall remake, because that was a huge junk movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of understood in the 80s why RoboCop was a thing and why everyone should be cheering on a robot that has little personality that's like going after humans, but is that really something to cheer for today?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. It's obviously going to include all the modern technology and whatnot, and it's going to be cool, I think. Gary Oldman is in it. Michael Keaton's in it. So it looks good. Two of my favorite actors. So
it's amazing how the latter, i.e. Michael Keaton's, like, all of a sudden he's making a comeback. Like, he's in everywhere I turn, he's in some film. I'm like, he disappeared to me in roughly like the mid to late 90s. I didn't see much of him in early 2000s, and all of a sudden he's in this film, he's in that
That's
film.
True. One of my favorite movies that doesn't get a lot of play is Multiplicity, with him and Andy McDowell.
I was just thinking about that.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
Just by that, I remember that ridiculous Buzz poster where it was just Andy McDowell and him, and it's just like a whole bunch of him, like, stretched out.
Well, for those of you who don't know what Multiplicity is about, basically, Michael Keaton is a contractor, and he has a family. His wife is Andy McDowell, and he meets this scientist that is capable of cloning people. So he makes a clone, and then one of him goes to work all the time, and the other one stays home. So then once that happens, they make another clone because apparently there was still too much to do. Then behind his back, one of the clones made a clone of himself, and because when you make a copy of a copy of a copy, it's not as good. The last clone was retarded.
Ah.
So there was a regular Michael Keaton, there was a super manly Michael Keaton, there was a very feminine Michael Keaton, and there was a retarded Michael Keaton.
So were they?
It's really, really good. If anyone hasn't seen it, they should really check it out. It's one of my favorite movies.
Were they trying to say that being gay is one step from being retarded?
Well, I hope not.
That was kosher back in the 90s. I mean, not so much now. So.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, it's really good.
There's two big stories I wanted to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
What's up?
One is that Ariel Castro killed himself.
Yeah.
The rapist from Ohio who kidnapped the girls.
They found him hanging in his cell, right?
Yeah.
What a shock.
What a shock. What a shame.
Yeah.
Apparently he wasn't even allowed to be with the other prisoners for fear, because the prison was afraid that, this is a high profile case and, they would instantly kill him probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he was on the type of watch which was no longer a suicide watch, but was with every 30 minutes they came back and checked on him, and he was solitary confinement sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came back on one of the checks, he hung himself with, I believe, his pants.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm surprised that he was kind of big guy. I'm surprised that anything like that held him up.
Yeah, I guess when there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Or kind of is.
Well, I mean, it's clear that he didn't want to. He didn't want this whole drama to be playing over and over again. So he saved everybody the heartache, and decided to take matters into his own hands.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so okay. And then the other story, which is kind of fascinating but scary, is that scientists have found a way to mind meld two humans.
You mean like in a Pacific Rim job? I mean Pacific Rim?
They're not there yet. They're not to that level yet. But what they have now is they have two guys hooked up to these brain monitors, like Ghostbuster style. When they put Louis Tully in that brain monitor, and the one guy with a keyboard can control the other guy's fingers.
That's scary.
Yeah. So at this point, the one guy's mind. I'm not sure if he needs to use the keyboard, but I think he could even do it with his mind. The one guy's mind controls the other person's finger.
Wow. That's scary. If that gets into the wrong hands, I mean, if it ever develops enough in order for it to be accessible and get into the wrong hands, I mean, think about it. We have people doing mindless shit all the time. Imagine someone else controlling them, and it'll be literally mindless.
Mind control. Yeah, that's what the article even says. The first word of the article, and this is on NBC News. Not that has any credibility, but for what it says,
it has a hell of a lot of credibility in certain areas.
Right. I mean, take it for what it is. Like when you're starting off with a goofy first sentence, but no, it's a credible news place. The world of mind control zombie armies may have just gotten a little closer. That's the first word of the article.
That's
the first sentence.
Jeez.
I know. That is scary. Shit.
Yeah, and they have a video of the two guys doing it.
And having a blast, I'm sure.
Yeah, they kind of look like that gamer who was playing World of Warcraft on South Park. Like they're in these lounge chairs and they're surrounded by computer equipment. And they both seem. I guess this is what they want to do. It is fascinating that they're able to do this, but yeah, of course, scary.
Yeah.
So these guinea pigs that they were using, I mean, they just look like average Joes and all that. That they were.
No, these are probably the scientists.
So the scientists use themselves as guinea pigs.
I get much like in Pacific Rim.
Oh, jeez.
It's not a break. Basically, the other person has no choice in the matter.
Right.
The fingers just.
Well, that's different. This is more mind control. Mind melding is that's just basically you guys sharing memories and all that kind of stuff. But in the concept of Pacific Rim, it was just to control that big mechanized robot. That was 250 feet tall or something like that.
The people did come out and say. The people who did the study said, look, we don't want anyone to think this is mind control. This is really more body control because it's not like we're influencing people's thoughts. This is purely nerve things.
Oh, okay.
So it's like someone's fingers twitching, but they know that their fingers twitching and why it's twitching. Or, I mean, at this point.
Right. So God forbid it gets advanced where, they want to use them as sleeper assassins. Think about that. Sleeper assassins.
Yeah, imagine you pick up a gun and kill someone and you don't know why you did it.
You can maybe they'll be sleepy assassins.
Sleepy assassins.
Or they'll definitely be awake, but they got to find a way. The next step is for them to find a way to put their mind in a unconscious state. That way they don't recall what they did.
Right, so you just
because right now they're at the infancy where they're just controlling the body. Now they got to find a way to control the mind in a sense. So we'll see how that progresses. It's still scary, but we'll see how that story unfolds for the most part.
Yeah, they're also speaking of limbs. There was another science thing that came out saying that they're studying octopus. You know how octopus's nervous systems are very complex with the 8 arms and everything?
No, I don't know, but keep going.
Okay, anyway, octopuses, octo 8, they have 8 arms.
Right.
or 8 tentacles or whatever you want to call them. Their nervous system is so complex that if you were to chop off an octopus arm, it shows awareness and even reacts to danger. The chopped off arm.
That's
really?
Great.
Yeah.
So if my arm was chopped off, like, if someone was gonna, like, say, I don't know, try to shoot at it.
Why would someone try to shoot at your arm?
Where I'm just painting a scenario. I'm painting a scenario, like, somebody, or like, try to, like, set fire to it. It would basically, like, try to crawl for safety or something like that.
Yeah, like that. Like Addams Family.
Oh yeah, I'll have like my own thing. Get it?
Yeah, it says after it was killed, the arm was removed and kept in seawater for up to an hour. Some of the arms were, when pinched, the arms would recoil from the unpleasant stimulus.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Tap water and acid applied to the arms evoked a similar response. Man, scientists are crazy, man. You gotta be into some pretty weird shit if your job is scientist.
Well,
yeah.
They just screw with animals to see how this could help humans in the future.
Right. My personal favorite was, like, them growing an ear on the back of a mouse.
There was one good thing that happened with what's the purpose of growing an ear on the back of it?
I don't know, like, just to see if it's possible for us to regenerate.
Yeah.
So you can hear when people are talking behind your back.
Clearly. Oh, good one.
One thing that the scientists did, there was 2 mice thrown into a cage with a snake. So usually in that situation, the mice will try to run away and the snake eventually eats them, because that's how you feed a snake. In this particular case, the snake was killing the first mouse. The second mouse saved its friend from the snake's mouth. It began attacking the snake, biting it, until it saved its friend from the snake. And the scientists took that mouse and set it free.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. That mouse was supposed to be. It was either a science thing or like a zoo thing, something with science involved. And that mouse was supposed to be, just used as food. And because it put up that much of a fight against the snake, they set it free. So that's what's going on. Is there anything else to talk about?
Nothing. It's been a pretty slow week, to be honest with you. Football has trumped a lot of the stuff.
Movies were terrible. Every movie that came out this week was rated negatively on Rotten Tomatoes.
Even Riddick?
What a shocker.
That did the best. That did the best of everything.
You're talking
saying
about
much, kid.
Critic-wise?
Critically, that did better than any indie movies or any other movies that opened this week, like big movies.
Well, what other big movies were open this past week?
Well, there was one shocking indie movie that was coming out this week with Naomi Watts. Did you see that at all?
Well, is it about Diana?
No, it's not that. No, it's not that one. This is about Naomi Watts and her girlfriend, who are, they're like 45 or whatever. They have 2 kids that are like age 20.
Mm-hmm.
So they all go on
around that age, I'd say, right?
The movie's called Adore. They all go on a big family vacation together.
The 4 of them.
Now,
and one of them is screwing the kids, right?
One of them starts screwing the other one's kid, and in retaliation, the other one's kid starts screwing the other one. But then they get into then it gets more complex where they're like, we can't live without each other now. So the lady's kids, did a crisscross and went after the other one's mom.
Shit.
I don't know how to react to that.
Yeah, well, you know what? That movie Red Obsession came out this week. It's about wine and how people are really into wine. That got really good reviews. But in terms of big movies, that J.D. Salinger movie came out, but it didn't get good reviews. And
well, I mean, it's just basically them trying to make Salinger out to be more than what he was. That's basically it.
Oh,
I'm sure that's
come on. I mean, Catcher in the Rye is
No. I'm not knocking Catcher on the Rye. But
in
I'm
the
just
Rye,
saying,
schmuck.
I know what I said. Anyway, I guess, they're the filmmakers are trying to, mythologize this individual. who decided to, like, you know, he just wanted to retire from public life, you know.
I think that's the interesting thing.
And then
when
it's kind of
someone's a
ridiculous.
hermit, you don't know what they're up to, and that's why it's interesting.
Right. You know, and then they're trying to, like, you know, try to conjure up, you know, ridiculous stories that probably weren't true, so who knows?
Right, like he could have just been a quiet guy that didn't want to be bothered, but everyone's like, what's he doing there all alone, you know? Because that's the Howard Hughes thing about how freaky he was acting alone.
Yeah, no. But then again, and on top of that, they brought up the angles of, like, you know, the killers or the would-be killers that he influenced.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
I mean, it's kind of like a low blow. That's unnecessary.
Well, because what they're saying is, like, that they're all connected, but those killers did their thing way after he went into quote-unquote seclusion anyway.
Yeah, I know, but it's just, I know that they say that book influenced them, but I just feel like it's too tacky for them to, like, try and, you know, tie those guys with that individual, you know.
The other,
I know he passed away fairly recently, and I don't know. I just feel like I understand its influence, good or bad, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like it's a little too tacky.
It seemed like the guy was a fan of Salinger's, and from what I heard, I don't know how true this is, it said that the filmmaker himself put $1 million into making the movie. Like, it was a self-made sort of deal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he put up his own money?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Oh, gee, why can't Spike Lee do that? No, I'm kidding. Relax.
There was also a movie this week called Fire in the Blood about the pharmaceutical companies and how basically the fact that the prices are so high for medicine is why a lot of people have died.
Oh yeah.
And that came out this week and it got pretty good reviews.
Oh, okay.
So that's what's going on.
By the way, a little, like, food for thought. Has anyone seen, not the Captain America that came out, but there was a Captain America film that came out in the 90s?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. I remember that one.
You know, now the guy who played Captain America, his name was Matt Salinger. You know who his dad is?
JD.
There you go.
Oh, snap.
I wonder what the pep talk was.
I don't know.
There's a question I'm curious about. But in terms of, like, any big news, I guess President Obama's, like, you know, trying to get congressional approval to go to overseas to try and set Assad straight, but.
No, I don't think anyone's agreeing. Well, here, I guess two things are going on. One, our allies are not.
Yeah, basically China, Russia, and even Britain, of all people, they're coming out against them in terms of, like, the attack.
So Russia's right by that. America needs to be careful not to start a war with Russia.
No. Well, I mean,
because if America starts a war with a big country like Russia, China's gonna jump in on that shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have three countries with three, you know, different self-interests. I mean, right now, our country is, like, world weary, and we don't really need to get into another war.
We all know what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Wait, what is it about?
What is
it about?
Well, I mean, Assad basically.
They got that They have that summertime sadness, so that's why.
Well, I mean, the Syrian president, he was. There was a failed assassination attempt on his life. Okay. So in retaliation, he decided to, you know, gas his people with chemical weapons, and I think, like, hundreds, if not thousands, of people were killed. Hundreds of them being little children.
You know what it is? We're seeing, because of all this stuff and all the exposure since 9/11, we're seeing that these conflicts are not just good guy and bad guy, and it's kind of hard to say who's. It's like, if we help this side, how do we know that this side won't be our enemy in 2 years? And if we help this side, how do we know that this side won't be?
Yeah, in a way, we're just playing into the usual, like, Clockwork Orange, in a sense. Like, back in the day, you know, when, you know, America was dealing with, like, say, the Shah of Iran, the Ayatollah, who was, you know, a menace to the Middle East, and basically we were arming, you know, Saddam Hussein and his cohorts to try and fight them off. Even when Russia was trying to invade Afghanistan, we were arming them, and I think Bin Laden was like, one of the leaders of the rebels, and look where that got us. So, and on top of that, the rebels that Assad gassed, I think there's some speculations, or if not, some truths that they have ties to Al Qaeda, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a catch-22. You know what I mean?
I know. It's heating up. It's heating up.
Yeah, in other words, this Cold War just got hot. That was actually a quote. It was actually a line in a cheesy ass film that I regret.
But when I was reading the articles, that's kind of what I thought. I was like, wow, the Cold War.
Well, the Cold
War turned into a real war. It's no longer a Cold War. Like that's much worse than a Cold War.
This Cold War just got hot. Yeah, I mean it's a little bit more complicated now than it was, say, 30 years ago.
Yeah, well, America's made it
because right now you got Russia, who has their self-interest, and now you got China, who also has their self-interest.
Well, their self-interest is build and prepare.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, America has its hands full.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, there's America's. I mean, for whatever reasons, America's made enough enemies. It's kind of like we can't. If our allies aren't even. It's kind of like when your buddies are all telling you something, and you're like, no, I just got to do this. Everyone's like, no, you should just chill out. And they're like, no, I got to do this, man. I got to do this.
No,
everyone's giving you advice, and you're not taking it, sort of deal. I think this current, whatever this was going to be, a war, has like a 90% disapproval rating.
Yeah, and the thing is that, I mean, let's just say we do send like an airstrike against Assad. And the thing is that they've had plenty of time to prepare, because it's like, all right, America's coming, we don't know when, so let's just hide the chemicals within a civilian, population, because the Lord knows they ain't going to shoot us. You're not going to shoot at any civilians,
Right. They're
going to try and shoot at my compounds, and, let's just make them look like a bunch of idiots, you know what I mean? If they do get congressional approval, you know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, it's a catch-22, and if they do go through with it, how many more? Then there's going to probably create a hell of a lot more enemies, because I'm quite sure there's going to be civilian casualties involved as well.
I know.
Who may want to seek retaliation against Americans, And this coming Wednesday, I believe, marks the 1-year anniversary of the attack on Benghazi, which led to 4 Americans being killed, including one of them being an ambassador.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's it's just craziness.
That's happening over there. But I think I told you guys before that I would like for us to pull out of the Middle East, and so that we could just focus on, our country.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the border.
I've been pulling out for years. We're good.
All right. Now, in terms of are we talking about the same pulling out, if you don't mind me asking? Never mind. Anyway, so I was saying
I think his mic is actually cut off, but that sounded funny.
Right, but I mean, in terms of, I just think it's better off if we focus on trying to build our country, and try to focus on the problems, on the domestic problems here.
I think most Americans.
I think most Americans believe that, but I also believe that if we do something that drastic, then, the idea of, Al Qaeda's influence would pretty much grow exponentially, and then they'll pretty much try to get young kids to involved in grand plans to attack us even more. So I guess our staying over there in terms of having various ambassadors and branches of the UN over there would pretty much try to quell Al Qaeda's influence.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is just the continuation of the old religious war between, I guess, Christianity and Muslims.
Right. And it's
right? I mean, at this point, I guess they're much more religious than the West is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very hard to have an enemy that has completely fanatical religious beliefs because they're not going to give up. They don't, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And look what look what they're fighting for. I mean, they're fighting for dirt.
Yeah.
And sand. So it's like, yeah, well, what else do they have to live for? They might as well just fight to make things more interesting.
This is like, this is like Saks Fifth Avenue going after the 99-cent store. There's too many of them.
I really don't want to compare them to that, but
hey, Obama,
man, more power to you.
I wonder if Obama will have that Nobel Peace Prize when he signs for war.
Well, he already has it, which is kind of weird.
I mean, I wonder if he'll have it on the desk as he's signing. If he'll be using that as the paperweight when he signs the document.
All right. But it is funny that I totally forgot. As soon as he got into office, the first term, he got a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
This guy didn't. I mean, yeah, he won. But now this dove is now turning into a hawk in his second term. It's like, whoa, what the hell?
Well, remember, there was so much craziness around Obama when he was won. I was in Manhattan when he won, and in Union Square there was, there was a lot of college kids down there from NYU area, and they were climbing up poles and hanging off poles and dancing and going. And I'm like, my first impression was like, wow, everyone really loves this guy. Like, I guess this is some big deal. But then on my more logical side. That was my emotional side, I guess, but yes, I have them, George. But my more logical side was saying, why are we cheering about someone who hasn't done anything yet?
Right, exactly.
And then they handed him the Nobel Peace Prize for getting elected. That's bizarre. That's pretty bizarre. But I guess everyone was just so sick of the last 8 years.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, Bush, just messed up tremendously. I mean, that was a tremendous F up on that previous administration's part that the American people wanted something very drastic.
But I guess maybe that's the thing with the two-term presidents. The first term they're a good guy, and then the second term they turn into the bad guy.
Right.
Like, they don't have to worry about re-election. Those who are already pissed have reasons to be pissed. Those who are happy are like, oh, whatever, yeah, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. So there's more of a general outcry of the people of the people who don't like the president, I guess, on the second term. And it's also the fact that the president could really do what he wants to do, knowing that there's no more re-elections, and you might as well do what you got to do now or want to do now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting heel Obama, I guess.
Right now we're getting rumors that they want him impeached and all that kind of stuff. If this thing goes,
bullshit.
Yeah, I know. That's, like I said, it's a rumor. So
it's so crazy how it's just power, and this is the stuff you read about in the history books, and you're like, why did a sex scandal destroy Europe with the Pope in the year 1200? Like, little shit like that, it's just people of power getting into human situations, but the weight of their actions weighs so much more than... I'm not saying that they're more important than people who aren't in positions of power, but the weight of their actions have much more of an effect on history.
Yeah. Well, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's an old saying, and it still rings true.
Yeah, I guess we're going to be dealing with this forever. God help us if we get into space. We're going to be those aliens that nobody likes.
Yeah, we're going to be like them space age marauders. Oh, these motherfuckers.
Like the rednecks move next door. God damn.
Right. Oh, damn, we got to deal with the Hatfields and the McCoys? Ah, Jesus. That's what the Martians are going to say.
Yeah, like, imagine we go to another person's land, another,
planetary body, yeah.
Yeah, right. We go to someone else's planet and start having a war between humans versus humans on another person's planet.
Right.
We believe in 3 cargo ships per year. We believe in...
You're right, and the indigenous the indigenous populations, saying to themselves, "You look at these crazy niggas." Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the future though. Like, we often think of the future in this very clean, metallic-looking way, but people are going to be just as roughneck in the future. Like, I could see when we get a transporter, a place that transports you from place A to place B, I could see somebody pissing into it for a laugh when they're drunk or whatever. You know?
That would be pretty funny.
That would be pretty funny.
Like, imagine all the dares all the crazy shit that would happen with the new technology based on dares, drunken nights.
Oh yeah, and then also somebody having a weapon and all that kind of stuff. Hey, I dare you to shoot across that stream. Hey, let's cross the streams by crossing with crossing the stream. Guys pissing together.
Or when do you think, after we discover aliens, that this line will be spoken? Yo, I dare you to touch his dick. I dare you to touch his dick.
That'd be funny.
All right, let's wrap this up. We got to turn from Syria to touching aliens' genitals.
Well, yeah, right.
Well, as Ted Doyle said, aliens are already here. They established the pyramids and all that stuff.
All right. And are you trying to say that we should convert to Scientology?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to do that.
All right, guys. Brian and George, thank you very much. This is Chris, thanking everybody out there for listening to Shooting the Ish. This is my song, girl.
Yeah.
You got
that was actually. I'll be honest with you. That was actually the most fun I've had. To be honest.
Yeah, that was good. Next time we play that song, we need some of those mollies. All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.
Later, guys.
Later.